We have just a couple minutes, so a reminder to turn off your cell phones, please. Good afternoon, everyone. It is 6 o'clock, so we're going to start our meeting. Welcome to everyone. Good to see everybody out tonight. We know that you're here for something specific, but please feel free to come to any council meetings. They're always very exciting. So we're going to begin by our land acknowledgement. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation. In particular, we recognize the enduring presence and stewardship of the Indigenous people and honor their connection to the lands and waters within Central Frontenac. Now, please stand for the national anthem. Okay, our first item is approval of the agenda. Moved by Dan Meek, seconded by Cindy Kelsey, that the agenda for the regular meeting of council to be held August the 11th, 2026 be approved as presented or as amended to include report 154, 2026 regarding Arden Road speed limit in section 12 and an additional request in section 14 regarding the use of the township-owned building at 1094 Elizabeth Street by the Historical Society. So it's not as presented, it's as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Is there any disclosure pecuniary interest in general nature thereof by any member of council on any item in tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on then. Minutes, moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Bill Everett, that the meeting minutes from the regular meeting of council held on July the 14th, 2026 be approved as presented. Any questions or comments on those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Mayor's remarks, just a couple of remarks. The Parham Fair is on this weekend, Friday and Saturday, I believe. Yes. So if you can, it's the only fair in Frontenac County. And I think it's, I don't know how many years, Nikki, 150? What is it? 134 years. So if you could get out and hope usually it rains a little bit, but that just makes it more interesting. The other thing is AMO is happening this week or next week. And we have some counselors. Who else going to AMO? Nobody's going. Oh, it's an election year. We're not going. Okay. I'm certainly not going. Just an update on me. This will probably be my last council meeting, maybe for the rest of my term. My surgery is the 28th, so I'll be off September and probably most of October. I might try to get in for that last meeting, but we'll see. Okay, delegations. We have one delegation, Ian Willens, who is here to request reinstate the 50-kilometer speed limit on Clarendon Road. Ian, do you want to go down to the, just push that button?
First of all, I'd like to thank the mayor and council for giving me the opportunity to
talk right into that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd like to thank the mayor and the council for allowing me to do this presentation. Just recently, we found out that our road speed limit went from 50 to 80. And initially, all I wanted was your bylaw that enforces the off-road vehicles to abide by that ruling. Anyway, the signs have been removed, so there's no signs now. And what's happened is now that they're all gone under regulation 615 of the Ontario provincial regulations, our road's automatically 80 because it says if there's no sign, it's 80. If it's in the urban area, it's 50. So anyway, my request is to reestablish that 50-kilometer signs. And if the bylaw that enforces the speeds of the off-road vehicles, I appreciate that. I got to give some observations. First of all, I noticed all the signs on the trails are 50 kilometers, except for in the community areas, which is 20. And I thought that we were a community, like Central Frontenac is all a community. So I'm just surprised that we didn't get the same 20-kilometer signs up our road.
Trails are
Yeah.
just to note, trails are different than the roads.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. It's my impression if there, I've already given that with the 80 and 50. I believe that under the Transportation Association of Canada, sorry, I'm not talking there, Transportation and Association of Canada, it's called TAC, design guidelines, and basically it factors in the vertical and horizontal conditions of the road. It also factors in what the road's made of, like gravel or pavement. And to properly get what I think and what they think is the proper speed limit for our road should be done by a licensed professional engineer that can look at the road and say, you know, it's too fast, 80 kilometers an hour. What else? And the other thing they told me was that gravel roads are the worst roads for, they call it friction report. How long is it going to take somebody to hit the brake and then, you know, stop? And they can't on gravel roads. I was speaking to, and I hope you don't mind, to the public works manager, Darwin Sproul up at North Frontenac. And he told me they have a speed bylaw, but in his speed bylaw, he says he got 80, he got 40, he got 60, he got 50. And what he does is he takes in the information from TAC, and he's an engineer, and he can do it. And he's had people phone up. He made some 60, and then they said, no, you can't. So he took them down. Okay. I also talked to your public works manager, Mr. Gould, and I told him if he could look into these matters, I'd appreciate, you know, best way to determine the proper speed for our road. Oh yeah, the other thing that Stephen and I discussed was the faster the speed on the road, the more maintenance on it. You're, tearing it up and people sliding on it. So I won't put it in his words, I'll put it in mine. I used to do this for a living, and if you tear up the roads, your maintenance costs are going to go up. And I don't think his budget can handle that kind of stuff. So I think he would like to see it lowered as well. Oh, and then I got a cost factor. If you replace just the speed signs that you're talking about on, let's say, Bell Line Road, you got to place them every 600 meters. Okay. And yeah, 600 meters apart. And the estimated cost for that right now is $30,000. Okay. And that's under the regulations that Rural Route Ontario 119 Regulation 615. And I think personally, these tax funds that you would put into that would be better off maintaining the existing roads. Also, I talked today, he's finally back to work, to Constable Rob Martell, and he told me that the township or townships decided not to have the OPP control the bylaws because it would be too much of an expensive factor. I don't know. You'll have to discuss that yourself.
What was the officer's name again?
Rob Martell. He's a community officer.
Okay.
I guess this is on topic. I had a constable come by my house, and they're coming by on a regular basis because of vehicle
ATVs.
speeding. Yeah. And he said that day he didn't do it on our road because he can't because of the bylaw. Right now he can't. But so he said, I nailed, and he used the word nail, I nailed 10 people speeding. And they're also carrying jerry cans on the side of their vehicles. And
Now, okay, so you're talking about ATVs now, not okay,
off-road
but
vehicles.
we're talking about cars and the speedometer, the speed for cars, right?
Yeah. But I'm just saying he pulled over ATV, or keep saying ATVs, off-road vehicles,
Side by
speeding
side.
and
Right.
okay, and other things. I'll give you a personal, because I was the senior project coordinator for the region of German construction. This will tie in. We had a policy that when I found out, I was just outraged. And because of me and a few other people, we had it changed. And what it said was you had to have 3 fatalities on the road before you did realignment, check out the pavement and the speed. And I guess my last question is, council, how many people have to get killed or significantly injured because the speed limits have been increased? I don't know how to answer it. I know I wouldn't like it.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, Ian. Any questions or comments for Ian? Nikki?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think just to clarify, it's not really the cars that are speeding on your road, it's the off-road vehicles that are the huge
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
So when we have a speed on a road of 80 kilometers, that means an off-road vehicle is allowed to do 50 kilometers
More.
or more.
Yeah.
So, and if it was a 50-kilometer road, then they have to go 20.
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
So the issue is the off-road vehicles and not being able to enforce them.
Yeah.
And that's why you wanted to sign on your road with the bylaw stated on it so that the OPP can enforce. The
And
speed.
also that the off-road vehicles will participate. If I may, what we did is we had Blue Skies last weekend. Actually, they say it's one weekend, but it's 3 weeks. You got the kids camp, then you got the adult camp, and then Blue Skies. Blue Skies, they're brilliant. They saw the sign go up and they were not happy. So they requested, or somebody requested, that Stephen take the signs down, which he did. And then what they did is they painted these stupid, and they're stupid, little wooden pallets that said, "Slow, please." And I'm right beside the road, and I watched them. They're coming in slow, being careful. And I just couldn't believe it. I went down and complimented them. I said, the only problem was, I said, I need signs coming backwards too, because when they leave, they're in a big hurry. But,
Okay.
okay.
Any other questions or comments? Susan and then Bill. No? Sorry, I thought you had your hand. Susan.
First of all, Ian, thank you.
Okay.
Council. And just to clarify, you're talking about Clarendon Road, which you mentioned Bellline Road, so just want to.
Yeah.
Clarendon Road. And just with reference to.
I heard you.
Everybody says I need to speak more loudly, so here we go. But, so when, as Nikki said, the speed limit for vehicles is 80 kilometers on Clarendon Road, then this maximum speed for ATVs is 50 kilometers, not 50 kilometers or more. That's the maximum.
Yeah.
So we have received your presentation, and I'm sure that our public works manager will be coming back to us with his recommendation for how to proceed.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
I
and
have
I
to-
just
if
want to
I-
tell you, I drove that road from one end to the other a couple of weeks ago. And I drive fairly fast and nobody can do 80 on that road.
No,
It's up and over and around.
there's a 90-degree
Anyway.
corner. I told
And
Steve to
the-
take it out.
Oh, sorry, Philip, you have something?
I did, Madam Mayor. If we're going to ask the Public Works Department to look into this, can we ask if we can specifically sign for the ATVs? If that seems to be what the issue is, can we specifically do something about the ATVs outside of just the speed limit sign?
I think they have their own signs.
But
Well-
we have a bylaw that says they can use the road, right? And
Yeah.
Yes.
So can we look at that bylaw if we're asking staff?
Let's take it up with the ATV club and see what they recommend doing, or that we can work together with them to do something. Nikki?
No, I think what Councillor Smith's trying to say is we regulate the speed on our roads and we give the off-road vehicles the opportunity to drive on them. So we have to regulate the sign. The ATV club can't put a sign up about speed. It's about what we regulate on that road. On the trail, yeah, we can work with the ATV club to work on the speed on the trail, but on our roads, we regulate them and we have to.
But
Follow
they
through.
know they cannot go 80 kilometers, that they can only go 50.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
No, I know, but
So-
if we're trying to say that we need them to go slower than 50, can we put up signs specifically for the ATVs? The lower, that's what I
Okay.
want to know.
Susan?
And if it's signed for ATVs, then that assists the police in enforcing our bylaw.
Okay, so that's a whole bunch of more signs, guys,
Yeah.
for sure.
Mhm.
All right, okay. If there's nothing else, I have a motion moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Lynn Clegus, that council receive for information the presentation from Ian Willens, a resident of Central Frontenac, requesting reconsideration of the decision to establish an 80 kilometers per hour speed limit on Clarendon Road and reinstate the 50 kilometer per hour speed limit. All those in favor? Carried. All right. Public meeting now, consent agenda, moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council receive items A through E for information as they're considered routine. Questions? Oh, Nikki?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a question. When we find issues on the website, and just because I seen their minutes, it created the question. When we see issues on the website, like spelling errors or changes that need to be made to rec lists, who do we send them to? Do we send them to the committee or do we send them to Chris?
They go to Chris. Okay.
Okay, because I know that our
Chris
rec
with a
committee
copy?
has updated our list every year and sent it to the township for insurance purposes, but it's never, ever been updated on the website.
Yeah, well, Chris can make a note of that then.
Could we send them to Chris and a copy maybe to
Me,
Jody?
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, okay. Bill, oh, everybody's got their hands up. Bill, then Philip.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, I have a question here in regard to the Septic Reinspection Advisory Committee information. Do we, are we going to get a report in regard to what it would cost to we hire the private inverse over the course of 2 or 3
Yes,
years?
you will.
Because they quoted us some numbers there, and also showed us what we have spent ourselves on it. But if you put that over 2 or 3 years, given the number that the private company was going to do, that's probably equal to what we did in 2 or 3 years. So I'd like to see an analysis in regard to that comparison
I
on the
think the
cost.
committee's working on that. Is
Okay,
that right?
that's good to hear.
Okay,
Thank you,
Susan,
Madam.
were you next?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And this is a question for Jody. In terms of the correspondence, were we pulling certain items out for discussion? Because that wasn't mentioned.
Yeah.
Whoops, I'll turn my,
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, Susan, we were. I was just going to add them to correspondence for action on the September 8th meeting. So I apologize for not pulling them out of the list.
Okay. All right, Philip?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to say that in the septic reinspection advisory committee minutes, I was in attendance. However, I was not. So I don't know.
So we'll correct
Correct
those.
Thanks.
Okay. Who else had their hand up? Lynn?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I was just going to draw attention to the items that we wanted pulled
Okay.
from correspondence about the reassessment and what was the second one?
the other one that I had was the,
OCIF funding.
that's already been done.
Oh, has it? Okay.
The other one was, regarding a contribution,
Number 16.
a letter supporting
What-
sustainable
what nu-
provincial fire services funding. That's letter 16. And the other one that we want.
3 and 4.
3, 4, and 16.
4 and 16.
All right. Okay. All right, there's no deferred items. So next is our building report. And that is moved by Cindy Kelsey, seconded by Dan Meeks, that council receive the construction detail report dated July 2026 for information. Any questions from any member of council? Bill?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor, I just wanted to know whether or not there was a backlog I looked at the numbers on the report and we're down overall, but given the turbulence in the public work or in the building department, are we caught up in the number of permits that might be on file? Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So we did have quite a backlog and we have been trying to catch up. We're short one inspector right now. So we have a permit clerk and myself that's new and we're trying to catch up and hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll be where we need to be, but we are gaining ground very quickly.
Good. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Just keep that for a minute in
Okay.
case there's another one. All right, all those in favor? Carried. And next is about building, and that is moved by Bill Everett, seconded by Philip Smith, that council receive the capital projects report as presented by the chief building official for information. Any questions on that? Nikki?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Dawn, I know you're still getting wet and you said Bill had helped you with this. I'm just wondering if the rest of the capital projects will be completed this year. I know Kennebec Hall has been waiting a few years to get the exterior work done and winter's coming and it would help.
There was some issues there and I know that they're working through the issues and I've talked to Bill about that and we're hopeful, but there was some setbacks and he's working through those setbacks. Yeah.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Also, I would like to know if there's an update on the status for the door controls at the halls for all buildings, but specifically for the Kennebec Hall.
So I did talk to the past building official and to Bill about that. And there were some issues with the keypads and they were having some issues with putting the actual combinations in. So they're working through that right now. And that was the issue with the keypad.
In the works. Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Carried. Great.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Don. Okay, emergency services, and there's the chief. Hello, Chris. Okay, we have a motion moved by Lynn Clegg, seconded by Bill McDonald, that council receive the Central Frontenac Fire Rescue Activity Report dated August the 11th, 2026, as prepared by the Fire Services Department. Questions or comments? Bill?
Yeah. Through you, Madam Mayor, Chris. I was looking at the report and overall numbers of
Your mic is-
down.
Your mic.
Oh, I thought I had it turned on. Now, the overall numbers are down, but one of the things that stuck out to me was the number of people who required oxygen at all the sites. I'm just wondering if that would be weather related. Can you speak to that at all?
Through Madam Mayor, I can't really say. I haven't reviewed all the medical calls, but certainly the weather that with the heat would have an effect on the, I know we had a lot of that. There was shortness of breath and so on. So yeah, there was quite a few that way.
If I may. And looking at the numbers, there's still the majority of our calls are medical related, aren't they? Are they not? So,
Yes, they are. Yeah. Our numbers are quite a bit lower though with the agreement that we have with the county. So our numbers are down quite a bit from last year.
Okay, Susan?
Through Madam Mayor, and thank you, Chris, for including your hot weather response plan, for being proactive and doing that in light of the temperatures. Very much appreciated.
Lynn?
Okay, that's good. Sorry.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I saw you made mention of the fire extinguisher training that happened. And I just want to send a big thank you out to Isaac Hale, who came and did the training for the Kennebec Seniors Group. It was amazing. And for so many people, you don't ever want to touch a fire extinguisher, but boy, it was great to touch a fire extinguisher and learn how to use it in case you ever needed to. So it was really worthwhile training.
Yes, Isaac's a great teacher as well.
And you think that should be a simple thing to handle, but it's not.
It's scary.
It is scary. Anyone else? Nikki?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was also going to thank you for the hot weather report. In your report, it was great to see about health and safety. So Mike, I just have a couple of questions about that. When you say that you do health and safety for the facilities, is it more than just the halls? Like I'm talking the canteen, it's been brought up at our rec committee numerous times and we've mentioned about health and safety. So does it encompass those smaller facilities as well? And is there an opportunity to maybe get a rec committee member on a health and safety committee or be involved in some aspect? Maybe something to think about, and you don't have to have an answer. And are we going to talk about the bylaw, the potential bylaw that you put in your report, or is that another?
No, that'll be another item because I mean, there is a number of things. This was just as a draft. There's going to be a lot of, and I haven't spoke to the chief yet. There's legal that has to go through this as well. So until we get that all worked out, we'll bring it back at that time. Okay.
And is there a possibility that before legal's involved, we can put it out and get public input so that people can have their say on it as well?
I would wait on that as well. So I will provide you more information.
Okay. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Gary. So just to that report for the bylaw is to deal with existing properties. So we have a lot of people that rent out their properties. We get there especially for burning complaints. The property's not been maintained because the owner is not in the area. And then we find ourselves getting our vehicles damaged or in that. So what that bylaw does is covers us for existing properties. The building code covers new properties. So that's what it's about. So that bylaw is basically copying the building code, and then we're just adding in what our concerns are to maintain the property.
So would some of those or the majority of those be short-term rentals?
I would have to say so, yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay. So that could also be part of a short-term rental discussion.
Yep, for licensing, for sure.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And the cooling report is just a starting point for us to go forward. that is not to be in the emergency plan. That is to put something in place. And then if we decide to use the emergency plan, then the emergency plan is there, but it doesn't go in the emergency plan. So I just wanted to be clear on that. Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, Dan.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Chris, I just wondered, was there any more consideration of handing out pamphlets on littering? I talked to Public Works and I also talked to you about it when you're into different places, whether we could do a little, just a little pamphlet on littering and, the fines and everything that would involve with that.
Through Madam Mayor to Councillor Meek, actually too, it could create a fire hazard, right? I mean, you got, so we could tie it in that way and certainly do something for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
No.
Right.
True enough.
Right.
Do you have another one, Dan?
Just one more.
Okay.
Who monitors the burn bans, high, low? Does each district monitor their own, or because some of them are up or down or all over the place?
We try to be consistent with that, but it actually takes us about a half a day to go around to do them all. And then somebody tries to help us by doing something they shouldn't, right? So actually we've had to replace 2 or 3 this year already.
Really?
Thank
Yeah. They take them, put them in the garage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bill.
You, Madam Mayor, Chris, I just want to commend you and your department in regard to working with the Public Works in the most recent road washouts and stretching of our services. It made my heart feel good to see cooperation between the department heads, and I want to thank you and pass on my thank you to all the members of the department.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
And those things always fall on a holiday.
They do.
They do.
It was a busy
It just
Monday.
seems to be the way.
Yeah, it was a busy Monday.
Okay. All right. No more. One more?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to follow up on Councillor Meek's comment, Stone Mills has just introduced new welcome to Stone Mills signs, and on the welcome to Stone Mills signs, they have the burning information there. And so maybe I know Steve is investigating new welcome signs for the township, and maybe that might be helpful if we had them on those welcome signs and not as maybe as easily to move your arrows around. But it might be an idea to combine the two and get some better signage for everything.
And the roads will pay for it, right, on their sign?
Absolutely.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion? Carried. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Now we have Michael, the money fellow. Okay, we have a motion moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Susan Irwin, that council received the accounts payable report check distribution in the amount of $475,642.04 as prepared by the manager of financial services for information. Discussion. All those in favor?
Madam Mayor, if I can just make
Carried.
a comment that's probably one of the lower ones, just to point
I
out.
was going to say, it's usually $1 million, and I have to figure out how to say all those numbers.
He should go on holiday.
All right. Moved by Dan Meek, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council received the report submitted to the Central Frontenac Treasurer by Judy Gray be received for information. This is on the Mountain Grove Cemetery Service. Discussion? I think they brought in $620, I read. Yeah, and that goes to help with the cemetery. All those in favor? Carried. And tax sale property, moved by Cindy Kelsey, seconded by Susan Irwin, that council accept the arrears/tax sale property summary update report as prepared by the manager of financial services for information purposes. Any discussion? You go ahead there.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple comments. I know council can see that this is higher over the last few years. We're always sending out past due notices. The tax sales are coming back up to date. And I think the most important number, at least for me there, is that the number of payment arrangements have increased. So we are always trying to work with people. That's the last resort that I want to do.
That is so good. That's an excellent thing to do for our community. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Right. Moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Lynn Clegus, that council receive the asset management annual report for information purposes.
So I believe, Madam Mayor, at this point, we have a presentation to
I see
put
that.
up on screen.
Okay,
That is there. Okay, just making sure it's the same one.
So,
If I can take a minute, you guys are looking that way.
yeah,
Okay, so if you'll forward the slides when I ask you, Chris. Okay, thank you. So if we can go to so you can see the agenda there, we're going to go run through a quick background, a year in review, what's holding us back, strategies and next steps. Go ahead, Chris, please. Questions again. So obviously, as part of the Infrastructure for Jobs and Prosperity Act 2015, the Ontario government introduced Regulation 588-17, Asset Management Planning for Municipal Infrastructure. Obviously, this council is well aware it requires Ontario municipalities to develop an asset management policy and asset management plans between 2022 and 2025 with increasing complexity. And the annual review must address the progress in implementing the asset management plan, and it's to be done before July 1st, and we are after July 1st. So just to let you know, but this is the earliest we could get it done.
this is our July 1st.
This is our, sure, let's go with that. Next slide, please. So you can see the asset replacement cost has increased by $5 million. The biggest increase, which I don't think will be a surprise to council, is with vehicles. And it's something that we can't do a whole lot without. Next slide, please. So you can see here that our condition dropped by 10% from 2024 to 2025. The green is excellent condition. Red is bad, obviously, in this particular case. So next slide, please. So you can see here that we increased by $800,000 in the investment. And that is a very, very good news story. And I'm bad for taking time and celebrating what we've done right. This is still not enough money, and you'll see it will reduce the amount of condition that it just deteriorated, but we still have to stay the course, and we'll get back into that later. But it should take I believe the asset management plan had 1.6 for 20 years. So this should reduce us to about 17 years, but again, staying the course. Yeah. Okay. Next slide, please. So things that we've done, again, celebrating, we've componentized the buildings in a different way to align better with financial resources, I'm going to say, and we've replaced cost updates. The CPI has been on most of the things, but where we've been able to put in public works or accurate costs, we've done that. And I'll just take that opportunity to, if I may, sideswipe us to introduce Mackenzie Miller, is about to say your mom's name. Mackenzie Miller, who, again, you can see on the bottom of the slide, is one of the best things that Central Frontenac has done. It's what I've harped on with the province, and every time I've been at something, that we will not advance in asset management unless we have Mackenzie here, or no offense, but someone in that position, right? That's the only way it's going to happen. The formalized and increased capital contributions is related to the asset management plan and dedicating 1.6% increase each year. Next slide, please. What's holding us back? Some days it's Michael, but not today. Financial pressures. We know that. Impact of rising costs, reduction in OCIF funding, which was $66K last year. And council's already approved that resolution going forward. If the doubling doesn't continue, that has another $300,000 impact. So grant funding is huge, and we'll talk about that again later. Time, which again, Mackenzie will help out a lot with, and interdepartmental collaboration. We all know we have 24 hours in a day, but I'd love more time to be able to sit down with each of the department heads and go through that. And again, I look back at Mackenzie, so no pressure. Next slide, please. Impediments, municipal election. We're going to have different perspectives. We have thoughts and priorities can change. Evolving regulatory requirements. The province is always changing things, and not always a bad thing. Continuity in decision making. Sometimes staff changes as well, right? We have to roll with the punches. And continuing with ensuring the path to sustainable funding and understanding the long-term implications of infrastructure investment decisions. It is very easy to stray from the course with so many budget pressures, but is worth the effort to invest in our capital assets, which enables us to deliver the vital services to our residents. So it's worthwhile to stay the course. Strategies and next steps to help us stay on track. Obviously, again, looking at Mackenzie, continued pursuit of alternative funding sources. Obviously, different department heads do that as well. Enhancing organizational capacity, which we are doing again with the new position, and new council onboarding is always an educational opportunity, even for existing council and staff. Next steps, our targeted actions are in the report. This presentation was designed more to just high level touch everything. We want to keep working on the data and making improvements. Again, looking at Mackenzie, and the annual report in 2027, which again, looking at Mackenzie. So
Today, I'll be presenting that to you next year, so.
there's a lot, and I volunteered Mackenzie before she even started on a pilot project with Citywide to help improve things going forward. So I think she's pretty excited about that, as if not as much as me, more than me. So
Excellent. Hey, who would like to make a comment or ask a question? Bill?
Through you, Madam Mayor, Michael, you mentioned interdepartment cooperation in regard to asset management. Does that cooperation, can that extend out beyond our municipality into, say, North Frontenac or South Frontenac, and which to actually help us achieve our goals? Thank you.
through Madam Mayor to Councillor McDonald, absolutely. I mean, we do that now amongst treasurers, amongst CEOs, amongst different positions. I will just say that I've had discussion, and yes, there may be future opportunities with Mackenzie. And yes, you never stop sharing. Thank you.
Welcome, Mackenzie. Or maybe I should say, I'm sorry for you. But certainly asset management, when I first heard about it back a number of years ago, I thought this is just the government's way of showing us how bad our situation is. But it really does takes the reality of where you are if things start to go wrong. I think at one point they said with our bridges alone, if they were to all crash at once, it would be like $26 million. That number now, I don't even want to guess what it would be. But asset management is very important.
It is pretty crazy. And I mean, I may have painted a negative picture there, like almost feels like budget time. But just to remind, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Madam Mayor, we're no different than any other municipality here, right? We didn't get into this overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight. It will be to our children and our grandchildren.
Yeah. It's planning for the future. Okay. Anyone else? If not, we have a motion. I guess we've already read the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right. Now we're talking about debt. Moved by Bill Everett, seconded by Bill McDonald. The council received the report prepared by the Manager of Financial Services entitled Debt Management Policy, and that council approves the debt management policy. Would you like to speak to that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for the opportunity. There's nothing different than what we had in there last time. Actually, I think there was a couple small things, but nothing major that changed the intent of the policy.
Okay. Any
Thanks.
questions or comments? Seeing none, it basically says we have to pay the bills. All those in favor? Carried. All right. Moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Dan Meeks, that council received the revenue and expenditure report comparing the approved budget with actual expenditures for the period ending June 30th, 2026 for information.
Thank
Go
you, Madam
ahead.
Mayor. When I wrote my comments on here, I said, we're in a good position at 54%. This is probably one of the better ones when I've looked at that felt better looking through things. I had no major concerns other than fuel, repairs, and an early winter. But now I'm going to add flooding, right? Obviously, that's a big concern recently, and that's going to have an impact on the budget as well. And I just wanted to compliment repairs, which the mechanics are trying to be more proactive in doing their safeties earlier and spreading the work out and just making sure the vehicles are safe for staff.
And unfortunately, we live with a lot of beaver dams that with rains like that, they wash out roads. And I don't know what else we could do besides what we're doing is having people trap the beavers. We're living in their world, I guess.
Yep.
And they're wrecking our roads.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Nikki?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Michael, I just had two questions on it. So you had said here in revenue that the penalty interest is higher.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're penalizing them. They're already struggling to pay what they do, and then we're penalizing them. So that's really not real money because we're just struggling to get the taxes collected in a way, correct?
So through Madam Mayor to Councillor Gowdy, to me, it is real money because we are going to collect it. There are situations where we may adjust it, but we're going to collect it either through people paying or through a tax sale. And those are the rules that they are right now. Could we look at doing something? I think we're treating everybody fair, and people who do pay their taxes on time don't get a penalty.
Okay, Thank you.
That's
My
just
second,
my comments.
my second question, under expenditures, you had put down, we're about 50%. So at this point in the year, you know, we're in our 8th month. I know this is only to the first 6 months, so the first 2 quarters. At this point, we could be looking at a surplus at the end of the year, the way things are looking right now. I know that fuel, flooding, and that are still high, but at this point,
So through Madam Mayor, Councillor Gowdy, if you were finished. Okay, want to make sure I cut you off. Anything's a possibility. It all depends on winter events, other flooding, other decisions the council may make around this table to do different roads. That's all going to have an impact. Will we have a surplus? I hope so. Even though a small one is better than going into a deficit and having to pull from reserves. And as we're trying to borrow from ourselves, and as the debt policy talks about, a reserve should be a little bit higher. And, you know, that does smooth the tax rate as well, even though it may not feel like that to residents. And we all pay taxes, so we get it too from that side.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Sorry, if I just may make one more comment after
Yes,
you're done
go
reading
ahead.
that, Madam Mayor.
No, you go ahead.
I hope to bring the financial statements on September 8th. Just, you know, hope we'll see.
Sure, the meeting that I'm not at.
That's why. No kidding.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, carried.
Thank you,
Okay,
Council. And
thank
again,
you
officially
very much.
welcoming Mackenzie. Very awesome to have her.
Good to have you, Mackenzie. All right, now we're at roads. Hello. Okay, our first motion is moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Cindy Kelsey, that council receive the Public Works Activity Report as prepared by the Public Works Technical Assistant for information. Any questions or comments on the report? Nikki and then Susan.
thank you, Madam Mayor. The mayor just mentioned it, beavers, and washouts. In your opinion, would it be more financially better for us if we were more proactive at getting rid of some beavers, ahead of turbulent weather coming? So if we invested a little bit more in removing more beavers, would it help us maintain our roads in turbulent weather?
Through you, Madam Mayor. They're quite an animal. I mean, we can trap them all day long, and then a week later they're full again. The pond's full of them. So we could spend more money at it. Will it make our roads better? I'm not sure. I can't say. So.
And a lot of them could be on private property. Yeah.
We do have a lot of the trappers that go around and get them, and we usually have a monthly bill for that. It's
So
quite high for beavers, I think, but
they are catching some, but more are replacing them. Okay, Susan and then Bill.
So through Madam Mayor, obviously our beavers hadn't read the nuisance beaver bylaw, but that is action that we have taken to educate the public. And the other thing that I'd like to mention is that you've had a very busy July with rainfall, floods, even just, and I want to commend you for what you've been able to accomplish. I'm not saying that that made everybody happy. Everybody complains about the roads, but I think we must give you credit for what you were able to accomplish. So thank you.
And thank to the workers who spent their holiday working. Yeah. Bill?
To you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The guys all came together good on the holidays, and there were lots of people around to help and get things done. So.
And doing without any really complaints, just doing it. Bill?
Yeah, there's no sense of me re-echoing Susan's, because I'm very aware of the effort it took to keep our roads open over the summertime with all the events. But the beaver issue will never be corrected until the price of the beaver hides go back up, because it used to be that there were trappers on every corner. Now there are no trappers because it costs more to catch a beaver than it does to sell the hides. So that's really where we're at. So
One of the things I could do in retirement. Nikki?
Sorry, I also wanted to talk about the capital projects, which I was grateful that you had put at the bottom of your report. So I just wanted to confirm, so we're still going to be putting down more gravel, or we're done gravel?
Through you, Madam Mayor, we are going to be doing more gravel, yes.
Okay, and then the Hinchinbrook Little Dome. Are all the bills in, or is there still more bills to come on it?
There's still more bills, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
I was just looking at the numbers for where we are in surplus. There. Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. All those in favor of the motion, carried. All right. Now, this is the one about the Arden Road, moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Lynn Clegus, that council received the Public Works report regarding the review of the posted speed limit on Arden Road, and that council maintain the existing posted speed limit of 80 kilometers on Arden Road, as the findings of the traffic study do not support a reduction in the posted speed limit, and that council approve the installation of radar speed feedback signs at the entrance to the village of Arden, subject to budget availability, to encourage voluntary speed compliance and address resident concerns. And further, that Public Works continue to monitor traffic conditions on the Arden Road and report back to council should future conditions warrant further review.
Steve's got.
Steve?
Through you, Madam Mayor, talking with Kathy, we're going to pull that one out, and I'm going to do some more research on that before we come back. So.
Before we
So,
come back.
so we're going to defer this.
Correct. Yeah.
Council's all in agreement with deferring? Okay, it's deferred. All right. Good. All right. Now, Wagner Road, which I think a few people here want to hear about. Moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Bill Everett. The council received the Public Works report regarding the rehabilitation options for Wagner Road, and that council approve option 2, pulverize and double surface street as recommended by the Public Works manager. And that option 2 is the preferred long-term rehabilitation solution, recognizing that the investment aligns with the township's asset management objectives by extending the service life of the roadway, reducing future life cycle and maintenance costs, improving the overall level of service, and providing the greatest long-term value to the township. And that the project be funded through the remaining available capital funds from the Mountain Grove Road project, together with an additional contribution of approximately $58,000 from reserves. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council authorize Public Works manager to proceed with the rehabilitation of Wagner Road during the 2026 construction season. Discussion. Susan and then Bill.
Through Madam Mayor, and thank you. In terms of pulling the 58,000 or more from reserves, one of the things we have to look at is whether that's doable. And so I did contact our financial manager, Michael, and he confirmed that this would not have a significant impact on our reserves. So I was very happy about that, because I favor option 2. And I know that a lot of the folks who emailed Bill and I, and probably all of the councillors, have made their feelings clear. In fact, I think I have received more comments on Wagner Road than I did about the Safe Yards bylaw. So I really appreciate your input. It really helps us to make a decision and look at all the factors, and I'm always in favor of an informed decision. So thank you.
Bill.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Steve, I really appreciate the work that you've done on this. I will be supporting your recommendation for option 2 for this road for the very many obvious reasons. I've traveled this road many times, and I've got, like Susan, many emails of which I've tried to respond to everyone who questioned me, but all of the emails that I received and the telephone calls were to actually support the option that you're actually recommending. So I would ask the other members of council to support this recommendation so we could move forward. And the next time I draw my tractor down to Pam's Ruse, that it doesn't jump off the trailer. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Dan?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Last meeting, you talked about, Steve, the Eagle Lake Road. In my opinion, in some pretty good shape now. If we postpone that, do the proper ditching and take a bit of corner out at the top of the hill, we could probably use that money there for the second option and do that properly, Legal Lake Hill, before we resurface.
So that's a little savings there.
Mm-hmm.
50,000.
Okay.
Through you, Madam Mayor, that, yeah, that everyone's in agreement with that.
It's okay, Philip.
When we talked about it at budget time, I mean, it's a highly traveled road as well. There's a children's camp in there. There's a public boat launch. There's a lot of traffic that use that road, and it's patched up pretty well, Dan. I mean, it's
It's in pretty good shape now, Phil.
But I think, oh, sorry, Nikki, you go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think that as I had looked at the capital projects as well, I don't think we're going to need to take as much out of reserves to do this road when the end of the year comes for budget time. I think that you're going to see that some of these projects come in under budget that can offset the Wagner Road cost. So I don't think pulling money out of another road that was budgeted as well is fair. Like, yes, this road needs to be done. I'm in 100%. I was the one that said, why couldn't we tar and chip it? I was the one that encouraged Steve to do the report and have it done. I'm 100% in favor of supporting Wagner Road, but not 100% in taking out of another road that is budgeted that hasn't been started, that is well traveled as well. I think that we will have a surplus in the budget that will cover this 58,000 in the long run. I know right now we might take it out of reserves, but the surplus will go back into the reserves to offset it.
Anyone else? Dan?
It's just my opinion that we should do that road properly, grade the hill, ditch it, and try to remove some of that corner so you can see by the tracks. If you meet a big truck there, it's not very wide.
Susan.
Through Madam Mayor, and Dan, thank you for raising it, but the issue before us is whether we're approving the option 2 for Wagner Road. And I don't have enough information from Public Works about Eagle Lake or what's required. So I don't feel comfortable commenting on that, but I can focus on Wagner Road, and let's do it.
Okay, what I understand Dan saying is that you could take money out of that project, but if we leave it there, then it will get done and we still need to look at taking the 58,000, right? So there is enough money to do the job properly. So if we just leave it there and take our 58,000 out of reserves, 2 projects are being done right. Okay. All right. So sounds like we've discussed this enough. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right. including the votes at the back wall and the side. Sure.
And then we can do it in minutes.
Bill is suggesting a 5-minute recess. So if you are in agreement, we'll take 5 minutes, stretch our legs. Okay. This is call, yeah, that's what I said to him. Okay, Mr. Bill. Mr. Dan. Get yourself over here. Okay, we're going back here to administrative activity report. So moved by Dan Meek, seconded by Cindy Kelsey, that council received the August 2026 administration update as prepared by the deputy clerk for information. Any discussion? Yeah.
Election's going to be taking a lot more of our time.
Yes.
Why?
Go ahead, Nikki.
Think, a while ago, about a year or so ago, we had asked about, Kathy, you had said that you were gonna bring a report back to council about the purchase of this building, the sale and,
Yep.
and everything, but we didn't make it a motion. Eventually, are we going to see a report back about that?
Yes, we're working on that. And I said, Jody's been working on it with Michael in regards to the dollar. So yes, we will be.
And we're close. There was just that one big
Yep.
sale. So
So
we're
we're getting
getting
close.
very
Mhm.
close. Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Okay. Moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Bill Everett, that council received this report regarding the sale of township-owned land adjacent to 10-930 Road 38 Parham, being part of Lot 24 Concession 3 Hinchinbrook, as in FR 715448 Central Frontenac PIN 361570091. And that council passed the bylaw later in the meeting to declare the subject land surplus and authorize their direct sale to Dominic Peridot for $1,500 plus applicable HST. And that the purchaser be responsible for all administrative and legal costs associated with the sale. And that the lands be conveyed only as a lot addition to the purchaser's adjoining property at 10-930 Road 38, part of Lot 24, Concession 1, Hinchinbrook, Part 1, 13R 11260, Central Frontenac, PIN 361570090, and to be held in the same ownership. And further, that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the documents required to complete the transaction. This is one we've talked about before. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Lynn Clegus, that council received this report. It's the administrative Charbot Lake Beach tree carving proposal. So moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Lynn Clegus, that council received this report for information and that council indicate its support in principle for staff to further explore the proposed bear sculpture project at Charbot Lake Beach. And that staff work with Mr. Bill Bowick to obtain an arborist assessment, develop a preliminary project scope, obtain cost estimates from a qualified wood carving artist, explore potential funding opportunities, and review the planting of a replacement native tree. And further, that staff report back to council with the project details, estimated cost, and funding options for council's consideration, recognizing the project cost has not yet been determined and no budget approval is being requested at this time. Interesting project. Bill?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Could that money not come out of the parks or recreation reserve? That fund?
Yeah.
It's not coming to me right now.
Right. I can certainly check that with Michael, it could come out of there. Yes.
Bill?
Yeah, this, through you, Madam Mayor, this tree involved, it's going to have to be removed anyway because it's an elm.
It's broken.
And I envy anybody that tries to carve an elm tree, but if they can do it, I think it'd be an enhancement to the beach to actually have that. And it's going to have to be removed anyway. So
Yeah.
if something can come out of this project, and I look forward to seeing the numbers before we move forward or even suggest where we pay for it. Thank you.
There was somebody on that beach a few years back that wanted to do a chainsaw carving.
Mhm.
But this guy was ready to do it to one of the trees that was dying, and we kind of said, no, not right now. Anyway, maybe he's still around. All those in favor? Carried. Charbot Lake Farmers Market, moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council declare a Harvest Feast annual celebration of local food hosted by the Charlotte Lake Farmers Market on October the 24th, 2026 at Soldiers Memorial Hall to be an event of municipal significance for the purpose of obtaining a special occasion permit from the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario, and further that council authorize the CAO clerk to execute a letter of support for the event. Discussion? Susan?
Through Madam Mayor, just to provide a little bit more information. So through the county, the Charlotte Lake Farmers Market received some funding to increase the food to table options to support local farmers. And this is one of those events. It's going to be a 3-course meal with local food. There will be tickets sold, and the alcohol permit is for kick and push to serve alcohol. So it's an evening meal. So an outing.
Good. All right. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, communication and correspondence for action. Have to read all this?
The first part is just.
Okay, good. All right. I will go down here to moved by Cindy Kelsey, seconded by Dan Meeks. That council received the information regarding ERO posting 026-70740 proposed governance regulations for regional conservation authorities and the Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency. And for that council provide direction regarding any comments it wishes to submit to the province by September the 4th, 2026. Bill.
Madam Mayor, in regard to this issue, I feel that the changes to the Conservation Authority are going to have a huge impact on local municipalities, given the services that we obtain from the conservation authorities in regard to our official plans or zoning, all of these things. If after this all happens and we get a bigger unit, what impact is that going to have on our local municipalities in regard to accessing the services that they offered individually? And just the fact that I see they're changing the makeup of the board of directors to be appointed through the regional county level, I see it as another way of actually taking away local authority in regard to any kind of decision making when it especially comes to planning and that sort of thing. So I don't know what kind of, I'll work on the next month or so and see if I can put some comments that we can pass on, but I feel strongly that we're moving in the wrong direction in regard to the conservation authority.
They've already moved as far as the
I know.
amalgamation, but
Right, I understand that. So
Lynn
thank you.
and then Susan.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I too share your concerns, Bill. I think that there'll be one seat from the county level for the St. Lawrence Conservation, and one seat, I hope, for the Eastern Ontario Conservation Authority. And that is from the whole county. So our voice definitely will be getting smaller, and we have to have great concern about that. And I too will be putting some thoughts forward before that date.
And if it's the eastern area, that covers a lot of municipalities.
It does. There are many municipalities, just the conservation areas as a whole. The Eastern Ontario has 9 conservation areas that are getting merged into one.
Yeah.
The St. Lawrence just have 4. But
4 is significant.
4 is also significant, but it does present challenges for us.
And especially when we have 3 of those that got taken away.
Yeah.
Susan.
The other, I think I've lost my train of thought, but yes, we will have representation from Frontenac County on St. Lawrence and on Eastern Lake Ontario. And we're fortunate to have that. But what's disturbing is that it's based on population. So you're absolutely right. Rural communities are, rural municipalities are at a disadvantage.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Oh, Nikki, go ahead.
I agree with all three of your comments, but let's look back historically. Remember the health units years ago, all the townships were represented and had a seat on the health units. They were amalgamated. Now there's only one seat for Frontenac County on the health unit. And the rural voice is being heard. This term has been heard very loud at the Frontenac County's voice has at the health units. And she was very active in being part of the amalgamation of the health units into the three that amalgamated. So I think that as much as it is disconcerting, and yes, we do need to say something about it, I think that we also have to try and be hopeful as well that the voice isn't lost.
Okay, Susan?
Well, through Madam Mayor, one comfort is that the CAO of the Rideau Valley Conservation Authority is the general manager of the St. Lawrence Conservation Authority. So I take some comfort in that because she has an excellent manager. But I appreciate that our public health representative from Frontenac County has done an admirable job. But I can't say that our rural voice has been thoroughly respected. We don't have a public health office open here anymore. We still do in Northbrook, I believe. That one's still open. So I don't think we're getting the same service.
It's closed.
It's closed now?
Yeah.
So I still don't think rural areas are getting the same service. I'm sorry.
Well, they certainly don't do the inspections that they used to do. So, Bill?
Just in regard, I know we're discussing conservation authorities, but in regard to the health unit, in a matter of fact, we do not have a full complement of members on the health unit board because I know for a fact that Peter was looking for names for the name to the point to the health unit. So I fear that the further up it goes, the less impact the local folks will have. It's happening in conservation, health, and education. So
Okay, I'm calling the vote. All those in favor? Carried. The motion that I just read. All right. Now there's a dental proclamation that's a page and a half, and I'm going to just read the last and whereas, and then the now therefore. Moved by Bill Everett, seconded by Philip Smith. Whereas increasing awareness about preventative dental care, oral hygiene, and early intervention can help improve long-term health outcomes, reduce barriers to care, and strengthen public health and community wellness initiatives. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Francis Smith, on behalf of Council, do hereby proclaim October the 10th, 2026 as National Dental Care Day in the Township of Central Frontenac, and encourage residents to recognize the importance of oral health and support initiatives that promote accessible dental care, preventative education, and community wellness. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Susan Irwin, that council authorize the historical group to use the township-owned building located at 1094 Elizabeth Street to exhibit its 150th anniversary display until mid-September 2026. They just had it last weekend. Historical group.
But this will work. This will work.
They're now called the historical group. In this motion. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. There's not a spot here.
No.
All right. Moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Bill Everett, that bylaw 2026-39 being a bylaw to declare surplus and authorize its sale and conveyance, peridot, be read first, second, and third time and passed this 11th day of August, 2026. All those in favor? Carried. That's it for the bylaws. Notice of motion? None. Giving of notice of motion. Councillor Philip Smith, former Wilkinson's waste site. Councillor Philip Smith hereby gives notice of motion regarding the former Wilkinson waste site In accordance with the procedural bylaw, the motion will be placed on the September 8th, 2026 council agenda for consideration, subject to receiving a seconder. And we have a second giving of notice of motion. Councillor Nikki Gowdy, Municipal Real Property Review and Disposition Procedure. Councillor Nikki Gowdy hereby gives notice of motion regarding municipal property review and disposition procedure in accordance with the procedural bylaw. The motion will be placed on the September 8th, 2026 council agenda for consideration, subject to receiving a seconder. Any new or other business? None?
None,
Closed session? None?
none.
An adjournment. Moved by Len Clagus, seconded by Susan Irwin. That bylaw 2026-39 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular council meeting held August the 11th, 2026 be read a first, second, and third time and pass this 11th day of August 2026. And further, that the meeting be adjourned until Tuesday, September the 8th at 6 p.m. for a regular meeting of council, said meeting to be held in the council chambers, 14216 Road 38, Sharbot Lake. All those in favor? Carried. I will be at home watching you on YouTube.